Good morning, sir. Arey, I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Good morning, Anusha ji.
Good morning.
Namaste.
Namaste. Oh, nobody has joined yet.
Yeah, nobody has joined yet. And the people of Bali, I mean, those who are in Bali Yoga School, I think they will finish it late, the class, the
Yeah.
morning session. And
Yeah.
it is,
Are we going to discuss the shoulder blades and everything in detail?
in detail in the sense, like,
Like we will be discussing about uh, the head of the humerus and how to provide blood circulation to that. All that will we be discussing?
the blood circulation to the humerus or to the shoulder. See each and every bone in,
Humerus, to the head of the humerus and this entire collarbone.
yeah, the clavicle or the shoulder blade. Shoulder blade is at the back, the
Yeah.
pectoral girdle.
No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about this, the joint. The head of the humerus is here, I think, right?
Yeah, the head of the humerus, that is appendicular skeleton. That we
Yeah.
don't, that we will see the location and the joints. But
Okay.
in deep and detail, we have to study this movement or motions of the joints in 300 hours, not in this 200 hours. Yes. So like in my afternoon session, I do take the afternoon session. If you have seen me, when
Yeah.
Durgesh, I do join Durgesh ji with teaching. So I do teach that there.
Okay.
But
Right.
yeah.
I just wanted to study skeletal system in detail, actually, the anatomy of entire skeletal system,
Hmm?
because I think that's the most important part when it comes to asanas. Your
No,
spine,
no, no. That is
age,
completely wrong thing. What you are been telling. That is
that's
not an important part in an yoga anatomy completely. Just
mm,
anatomy of the skeletal system, what people think.
mm,
So when you will, as a beginner, when you will study this, Anushadji, that time you will just think, oh, it is important. But what we studied or what we started with the digestive and the respiratory system, the more you will teach in your life to your students, that time you will be getting an idea that how much was this organs and this important about the glands or about the system, about the stomach, about the acid. So what people suffer more than the bone injuries, it is the internal problems. So that is what respiratory is more important. We should know about the pranayam. So when you study a teacher training, relate this yoga anatomy structure with your therapy session, and then you will get an idea about it.
okay. Maybe for me, skeletal system is more important because I had suffered from back issues, na. So
Yeah,
I
that we will discuss, of course,
so I gave
in
more
this course.
priority to that. Plus, also I think in meditation, skeletal system, especially your spinal cord, plays a very important role. It has to be very straight.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it has to be very straight, and it is one of the important reasons when we
Yes.
practice yoga. Not the most important. That we will discuss it further. You will know now in the coming session. Let's see who else has joined. We have Hardeep
Okay.
ji.
Yeah.
Namaste, Hardeep ji. We will start the session now with both of you. Now, we are going to study about, or we will continue about the axial skeletal first. Axial skeletal system. First, what we have seen, the head section, and in the head section, what we have studied, our skull, then our facial skeletal, and the bones in our ears. That makes up our the section of the head, the first section. The second section we will talk about. Very important to know that the spine here is the neck section. If we will know about the neck here first, before we go to the spine and the vertebral column, what is the bone here located in our neck region or the neck section? In the axial skeletal system only, that means in one axis of our body only. This bone is known as hyoid bone. Step by step, the second one, the neck, hyoid bone. Write it down. If you have a paper or a pen with you, the more important is what I speak, that you write it down. The hyoid bone is what? The only floating bone in your whole body. I repeat, the only floating bone in your whole body. That means the bone which is floating, that is not connected to any other bone. So this connection of the bone is not present or connected with any other bone. So where do you find this hyoid bone? In your throat, in your neck? Just above your windpipe, above the thyroid cartilage. For example, this is like if we studied. So we have studied before respiratory. You should get an idea about that. What is the windpipe? So where is this hyoid bone? If this is a windpipe trachea, then these first two rings, we call it as larynx in the wind or in the respiratory system. So above this larynx, there is what? A thyroid cartilage, a cover. The cover of the larynx is what? Is thyroid cartilage. And to this thyroid cartilage above, at the top of the thyroid, we have this hyoid bone. That bone is on the top of this thyroid cartilage. The purpose of this hyoid bone is what? To hold the muscles of the tongue at the back. And there are also small horns on the hyoid bone along with this long, huge horn. And the purpose is what? To keep our windpipe, the trachea, open to pass the air continuously in voluntary action, even if we don't focus, if we are breathing. At the moment also, while I am speaking or while I am doing something else, the breathing is what? The continuous process. That is what? It is keeping my windpipe, the trachea, open to allow the air pass through that and reach the lungs. This hyoid bone, you have to call it, or you have to say the only floating bone, because you will not see any other bone connected to this. There is no bone connected to hyoid bone. One of the important bones in the neck, the only bone in your neck. Clear about the hyoid bone? Why it is only called the floating bone? And where it is being kept or located in your trunk or in your neck? Let me know if this is clear. So we will proceed further. The location. Can I raise this, Anusha ji or Harpreet ji, if you have got it?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then, after the hyoid bone, that is not the only floating bone, we will proceed further with the axial skeletal, that is our vertebral column, the spine. This is one of the most important part which we discuss now with Anusha ji. So I will write it here, vertebral column. See, the location of the vertebral column here, these vertebrae here if you will see the vertebral column, which where you will find all the major chakras, not all the chakras, the major 7 chakras in terms of yoga, you will find it out on your vertebra. When or what is the purpose of this vertebral column and what is at the base of this vertebral column in the subtle body? There is what the Kundalini energy. Yes, Anusha ji?
No, nothing.
Yes, so there is what a Kundalini energy at the base of the spine. So when we practice yoga, at that time, what happens? Our energy channels, our nadis, the left nostril, the Ida, and the right nostril, the Pingala, when these two nadis, which start or which are originating from the base of this spine, when these two nadis are flowing completely, they do end at our nostrils from the third eye, but they begin from the base of the spine. And when these two nadis are flowing equally, completely, even if you will check now, you will have one nostril flowing more than the other nostril. And if you will find that your both the nostrils are flowing equally, dominantly, not for 5 minutes or 2-3 minutes or 1 second or 10 seconds, for the complete period of time, not like the, so like a real yogi, completely flowing these two nadis, then you will have that level of consciousness or the Kundalini stimulated, and this Kundalini will rise up to the vertebral column, activating your all the chakras, where your all the chakras will have some super siddhi. So we call it as siddhi. When, like you say, like siddhi prapt hoti hai for a yogi, that is not for any ordinary yogi or not for our this modern generation Facebook or Instagram yogis. I'm not talking about that hashtag yogis. So please find it over here. It is completely different concept. The yogis are a big misconception in today's world. Anyone who practice yoga thinks themselves or call themselves a yogi directly. So this siddhi associated with every chakra leads a person to raise his level of consciousness to achieve the samadhi. That is what the philosophy behind the vertebral column. In terms of anatomy, in between each and every vertebra here, will not go much more in deep about philosophy. So about the vertebral column, you will have the vertebrae. How many vertebrae do you have in total? Yes, Anusha ji or anyone? So
I don't know the exact number actually, but I think I know the division actually: cervical, thoracic, and lumbar, right?
yes. So we do have how many in the cervical?
7 cervical, I think 8 thoracic. Yeah.
How many? Can you
I,
check again what you have written in your notes?
no, I'm not written. I'm guessing.
Don't guess it. There are 12 vertebrae in your thoracic region. So there are 12 vertebrae in the thoracic, 7 in the cervical. Correct. I thought you have studied before in your
Yes,
course.
I just forgot the number actually of the thoracic.
This is what the basic what we have to remember first. The 7 cervical in terms, just to say the 7 cervical, but if I will ask where is the 7 cervical, and do you know which one is the 7 cervical, and do we know that how to locate this 7th cervical? So whenever we will touch at the back and on the neck region, you will find a big bone where your upper back will start. So just bring your head down and try to touch the bone which is located. And tell me, can you found that bone? Did you found that bone? You have to bring your neck down and touch the bone, which is the biggest bone. You will feel it easily.
Yeah.
So that bone, whatever you that bone, the big bone, that is what? The seventh cervical, the seventh vertebra from that cervical. That bone is called the seventh cervical, and below that bone, the thoracic region starts. So in our all the vertebrae, the number of vertebrae will be 26 or 33 that we will see. But the next thoracic region starts right below the seventh cervical of our that big bone in our back. Next we have the 12th thoracic. Then the next again we will have how many?
5.
5 number, yes. That is what? Your lower back. This is your thoracic region, mostly in your upper back. And the 5th number. I hope you see the,
Yeah.
yeah. Or please put me on the spotlight if it is an option on your Zoom. After the 5th number, the lower back section, we will have a sacrum region. Sacrum. And at the bottom, you will have coccyx.
Coccyx.
So we have the cervical, then we have the thoracic and the lumbar. The next we have the sacrum, where our sacral chakra or Swadhisthana chakra is being located. Sacrum. And then at the end, coccyx. That is our tailbone, and in our tailbone, at the base of our tailbone, here you will find out the root chakra. And right below the root chakra, you will find out what? The Kundalini energy. Here, in between each and every vertebra, in between each and every vertebra, there is what? A cartilage disc. So that is known as cartilage. That will allow your vertebra to bend or to be flexible. So in between each and every vertebra, you will find a cartilage disc or cartilage pad. So sacrum and coccyx, we will talk about sacrum and coccyx. But the total number of vertebrae in the spine and the vertebral column, you will get it what? 7, 12, 5. It will become 24, plus there will be one sacrum counted and there will be one coccyx. So the total number of vertebrae are 26. But like I said, it can be 26 or 33. So before I said, this sacrum sometimes in scientific text count as one single bone. But some scientific text counts this sacrum as 5 fused bones. How many? 5 fused bones. So this sacrum has 5 bones, but fused together, made up of 5 bones, which fuse together and which makes it look like one single bone. So some will count it as 5, some scientific texts will count it as 1. Similarly, coccyx will be one single bone made up of 4 fused bones. So 4 bones fused together makes up the coccyx, your tailbone. So if we count 7, 12, 5, and 5 sacrum and 4 coccyx, you will get the number of vertebrae 33, and that will make or also change the total number of bones in your whole body. The number of bones in your body will be 206. That will change to 213 if we will count these 5 fused bones and 4 bones in the coccyx. The back and spine, the rest I will tell. The second important part in your body when you will practice asana, pranayama, meditation, or any kind. Don't go and like the first most important part in many scientific texts or in many traditional books. This is not the bookish thing which we will study, but the most important part. Then the spine, you will find is what? Pelvic. Your pelvic, the pelvic is what the most important, where your spine at the bottom is fixed in your pelvic. When your pelvic is squared, when your hips are squared in one direction, not up and down, then your spine, it will be easy for you to concentrate on the spine. If your base is not only fixed, if it is up, down, if you can't even stand, or if we cannot even stand in samasthiti, in equal position, sama, then our spine will also get tilt. That we will see. So this is whole the part of what? The axial skeletal, the vertebral column. I hope you got this vertebral column. Clear up till here? Any questions up till here? You can ask me. So can I erase this if there are no questions? And we proceed further. We have Ilona and Tia as well. Namaste.
Just one little question. So the vertebral column is also known as spine, right? So
Yes.
there is a fluid that flows inside the spine, right? I think I'm not really sure. I'm just relating it to the chakras that you've told me. So
Yes.
the energy that travels entirely through our spine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that liquid that travels inside the spine known as?
Inside the bones, I will tell, not inside the spine. Actually, we have that interstitial fluid, the cellular fluid inside the spine as well, that flows in each and every bone. So we have that vertebra and the nerve. Inside that we have blood vessels, the lymphatic vessels, and the nerve. And spine, that fluid actually is what the central nervous system. So the fluid from the brain and which connects our brain to the spine, the neurons. So we have central nervous system, one single part of the spine. And this fluid is what? From different neurons that are efferents or afferents. Those are also neurons made fluid inside the spine. Any injury or anything in between the cartilage or in between the disc, in between that nerve, or even a minor injury may damage the rest of the parts of our body completely.
So when somebody's suffering from back pain, the doctors inject, I think, some liquid or some medicine. So where do they exactly inject that? In the spine they do it, or in the bones?
That, no, not in the spine. So like in what kind of back injury? There are many types of back injuries.
Mostly in lower back, when people are suffering from pain in their lower back, right? So doctors suggest, when they have intense pain, so doctors suggest that you should go for a surgery, or they inject some fluid. I have seen people, especially women, after their pregnancy, they develop pain in their lower backs, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
when that pain is for a prolonged period of time, The doctors as a treatment say that, okay, we will put some injections in your back and it will relieve your pain. So what are those injections and where do they put it for that pain?
They will be just like a painkiller. They will be just like a painkiller.
So where do they inject it? They inject it because I've heard when they say that the doctors say that they are injecting it in the spine. So how can you inject something in the spine is what I wanted to know.
Yeah. And even here, I honestly like I have not seen or being a woman or not being a woman here. Where do they inject? Where is the location? Like about here, as a yoga anatomy teacher, will just tell you in short. But where do they inject that? That I have no idea in the back. For sure, if they will inject to release the pain, those like the muscle pain or to release the cramps, because most of the post-pregnancy symptoms, the women do mostly have the cramps in the body or they do have the clotting in the body. So to avoid that clotting, the clotting of the blood, it is very normal and like in any part of the body, even though pain is in the back, but that any part of the body is controlled with the help of the nervous system. So to manage those nervous systems or the nerve that send the neurons, the doctors treat those spines and the nerves attached to that spine like this. It, in short, this is what I will say, Anishaji. Hope if you satisfied with this, or if you want to ask, you can ask me more about it.
No, it's fine. So just one more question. When people develop problems like this thing, in the lower back, there are two main problems: lordosis, and there is one more. I can't recall the name. So which?
Yeah,
Yes. So one is when the sciatica,
lombardosis. The sciatica is
lordosis,
different.
sciatica is there, lordosis is there, and one more is there. I'm not able to recall the name.
Yeah,
So
the shape of the spine.
yeah,
This
so which areas do this affect? I mean, what exactly is the effect of if someone develops a lordosis in the lower back?
Mhm.
What happens, as in the vertebra turns outward or inward? What happens to it?
That we will see in the therapy session about the lombardosis, about the scoliosis, about the spondylitis in the
No, no,
cervical
no.
region.
I'm just asking the bones. Which bones are affected in that? The lumbar region is affected, right? So L1 to L5. Which bones are
No, 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 no,
affected?
no. No, 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 no. It is not like only about the lumbar region. So the whole structure of the spine. So when this spine, this is what the neutral, it can affect the middle as well as lumbar section. Depends, not each and every one's vertebral column is same, or not each and every person body structure is same. It may not only cause to the lumbar section, few bones of the thoracic region as well. So when the spine will move in, or that is what the disc inside means towards our navel. When our spine will move inside, then the disc inside will move. And also like when the spine will move outside, more people have that hunched back. Then also there are the spine, or you can say call it a slip disc, when the disc gets slips from in between each vertebra, that is called as slip disc. That is also lombardosis. And the spondylitis only in your cervical region. But this happens in the thoracic and lumbar, not only in the lumbar. For each and every shape and the structure of a human is different, because each and every center of gravity is different. My center of gravity will be different. Your center of gravity will be different. If I will ask about the center of gravity, or where is the center of gravity in our body? So if you know what is the center of gravity, can you tell me, like in short, Anusha about the center of gravity or where it is located in our body? So
No, I'm not really sure.
okay. So the center of gravity is located in between our sacrum region and lumbar region. So in between the sacrum and lumbar, that doesn't mean that your sacrum of or your center of gravity will be located in L1, L2 or L3, the lumbar, lower vertebrae. But for example, my center of gravity is located in the sacrum, S1, S2, S3. So each and every one have the different structure completely where our center of gravity lies, where our nadis originates more in our body. And depending upon the center of gravity, the there is a shape of our vertebral. So center of gravity plays a major role when to keep our vertebrae in line or in the lombardosis or the scoliosis. That is what, if we will see about it, there will be many more asanas, when we should do forward bending, when we should do backward bending. That is what, many more things, but I think that you should learn in the therapy session. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have a
that,
separate,
all that I know. That's not a problem.
so this is all connected about when you should do the Manjari asana or the Gomukhasana, that particular section. So here in the anatomy part, the rest of the people, even with Anusha J, the basic thing in the 200 hours that you should know, the cervical has the 7 vertebrae, the thoracic has the 12, with the lumbar section 5 vertebrae. In your spine, sacrum has one single bone with 5 fused bones, and the coccyx has 4 fused bones. That is only one tailbone. So total 26 vertebrae. Apart from this, you will find here the next axial skeletal part is the ribs and the sternum. How many ribs do we have? Yes, people. How many ribs do we have in total?
24.
And why 24 now? It
Why?
is right.
You will tell us.
It is very simple. If we study about the vertebral column, if you know more about vertebral column, we should easily know why 24 ribs. Because in our vertebra, thoracic region, how many vertebrae are there? 12.
12.
And to these 12 vertebrae, all these ribs, you know much more about the vertebra. So to this, all the 12 vertebrae, all these 24 ribs are connected. And they are from each side. So
14. Yeah.
yeah, 12 from the right, 12 from the left, but they are connected back to every vertebra of the thoracic region. So 24 ribs in total. And the sternum is what? Your chest bone, the center bone. So this sternum is what this is, looks like the sternum, the center bone like a tie. Like a tie, you will see the sternum. And to the sternum, there is also the cartilage. How many cartilage I have drawn here? 7 cartilage to the sternum. 7 cartilage are connected to the sternum. That means the ribs which are connected back to thoracic vertebrae from T1 to T7, or for the first 7 vertebrae of the thoracic, they are also connected in the front here. So these ribs 7 on both sides. So here are what? The first 14 ribs, 7 on each side. These ribs are known as true ribs. What are these ribs known as? True ribs. Then, why they are known as true ribs? Because These ribs are connected to the cartilage, which is connected to the sternum bone. And these ribs are connected to the back for the thoracic vertebra as well to the cartilage. But apart from these 7 ribs, we have to see the rest 24. So these are 14, 7 and 7. Then the next 3 ribs, 8, 9 and 10 on each side. So the ribs 8, 9 and 10, they don't have their own cartilage. They don't have their own cartilage connected to the sternum. So the cartilage of the ribs 8, 9 and 10 on each side is connected to the cartilage of the 7th rib. I repeat, the cartilage of the ribs 8, 9 and 10 are connected to the cartilage of the 7th rib. So they don't have their own cartilage connected to this sternum. So these ribs are known as false ribs. So these ribs are known as false ribs. And we have 20 ribs now. So first 14 true ribs, then the next 6 or 3 on each side false. The next 4 are false floating ribs. That means these ribs are connected behind to the vertebrae, but they are not connected in the front. These ribs are connected behind to the vertebra T11 and T12, the last vertebrae of the thoracic region. But in the front, they are not connected anywhere. Like if we see at the below our thoracic region, the floating ribs are being present, which are connected only at the back. But I will not call them as completely floating like a hyoid bone in our neck, as these are false floating ribs. Why? Because they are connected behind to the cartilage of the spine. So they are false floating ribs, but not in front. Have you heard, any one of you, that some of the ribs in our body are removable? Have you heard? Yes, anyone? Just a small question. After watching these 24 ribs, 14 the true ribs, the next 6 are the false ribs, and the next 4 are the false floating ribs. But some of the ribs in our body are removable. That means a human can remove the ribs. And which are those ribs? The false floating ribs. If you find out some celebrities or some people in the life as well has removed these floating false ribs from their body. That means they can also survive, but just to get the shape, to get in the shape of the body physically, to become more flexible while twisting, and to get a proper shape for the waist. Many females, most of the female celebrities do remove the floating ribs, false floated ribs. But the looks are not important part here. As again, I repeat, these ribs are connected to the back, to the spine, to the central nervous system, and even a one single injury or one single touch to the central nervous system may make you mentally or more emotionally problems in your life. Will bring more psychological problems in your life or in the life of those people, those who will remove these ribs just to look attractive or to be flexible physically. So this is what the 24 ribs as a part of axial skeletal today we have seen or we have completed. If you want to ask me, please ask if you have any questions here as well. If not, we'll tell you what we have seen up till now. We have completed the axial skeletal system. That means the bones in our skull, the bones in our face, and the bones inside our ears, along with the location of the floating bone, hyoid bone in our neck, along with the vertebral column with the 26 vertebrae, 7 in the cervical, 12 in the thoracic, 5 in the lumbar, 1 sacrum, and 1 coccyx. Apart from that, the ribs also is an axial skeletal. So all these bones which we have seen is in one axis of the body from yesterday. That is axial skeleton. 24 ribs. Why? As they are connected back to 12 vertebrae in the thoracic region. And the sternum, the center bone, the chest bone here, the sternum. Cleared up till here, the axial skeletal? Everyone?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, then. I allow you to go for your next sessions and see you soon tomorrow.